Okay, welcome to another That's So Hindu. We're sitting here, um, going to talk with this lovely filmmaker that's in front of me, Trivikram. Please give everybody your bio, your background. You are not yet a household name in the Hindu community. Maybe we can change that with this. Who are you, and why are we talking to you today?
Sure. Thank you for this. Thank you, Matt, and thanks for this opportunity. I am Trivikram Gajulapalli, and I'm here to tell cross-cultural stories, stories that are supposed to bring people together and probably give them a higher sense of purpose, especially in the form of films. I have a day job. I do films on the side. Uh, I came to US like a decade back, and yeah, so far it has been good. I've been making films in India. I made a feature film called Karam Dosa. In predominantly my work has been in Telugu, but now I thought it's more logistically more convenient for me to do films here. And then I thought I should make films in English. And then I thought I should bring the best of the both worlds that I have been living in. So I thought I should make these cross cultural films, and that's how I made Chiquita, and that's why we are talking together too.
Yeah.
By the way, HAF is a promotional partner on the film, so yeah.
Yeah, full disclosure on that's good. If we want to be really full disclosure, no one's getting paid for this. Well, I'm getting
Yeah,
salary. It's my job, but this isn't advertorial. Where this is just out of the goodness of giving people information about this film. And where are you based? You're in Dallas or Texas or
yeah.
whereabouts?
I'm not suburbs of Dallas,
Okay,
North Texas. Yeah, yeah,
okay. And as you said, and as your shirt shows, we're here to talk about the film Chiquita. I watched it a couple days ago again on Amazon Prime. Where
right.
else can people watch it?
Yeah. They can watch it on Plex TV. They can watch it on YouTube Movies, and there are some platforms in India like Hangama, and there are many other free OTTs worldwide, and they can find the movie anywhere. And I'm going to release it on YouTube this 16th on my own channel, so they can find it too.
Okay, that's the 16th of we're recording in January. People won't by the time you're watching this, it will already be out on YouTube.
Yeah.
So give people an overview of Chiquita. I'd rather hear it in your own words. I've got notes here and I could sum it up, but give people the summary without, I suppose, spoiling the film.
Yeah, it's fine. So Chiquita is the story of a Texan biker who, on a fateful night, crashes into a valley, and in the middle of the night, he encounters a mysterious little girl. Now, who is this mysterious little girl? Why is she mysterious? And how did it change the biker's life after that? Is the whole story about. Um, of course, it's based on self transformation and spirituality. It touches those subjects, but it's primarily the story of the biker who goes on his inner journey.
Yeah, and that's Bikers played by, I believe, Jodie Dean. Is that correct? I've got it down
Yes.
here. Um, the interesting thing about it, or one of the interesting things about it, um, is that you end with a slide. I believe it's end. It says based on the experiences of Western Hindus. What
Yes.
what did you mean by that? And what experiences, what sort of research did you do to bring those in? I mean, I'm a Western Hindu myself, so I probably could answer some of this, but in terms of your own film journey, what was going
Yeah.
on there?
Firstly, I'm happy that you didn't challenge that word Western Hindu, and I didn't have. Yeah, I don't know how to explain that. I
Mm,
guess so.
okay, yeah, okay. Well, here before we do that, why would I be challenging the word Western Hindus? I mean,
So
we could.
I heard a lot of people saying that I'm not a Western Hindu. I don't know. I heard this.
So white people or not people of non-Indian origin. I shouldn't just say white because there are a number of African American Black Hindus in the world.
Yes.
It's all around. But you're just referring there in this context to people who aren't of Indian origin that are
Yes.
Hindus. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So please go.
Yeah. So before this, Chiquita, the main intention was to make a feature length English film where I
Mhm.
wanted to talk about a crime investigation which was related to Indian diaspora. Uh, so I did a lot of research back then. I spoke to a lot of Westerners who adopted Hinduism or appreciate Hinduism.
Mhm.
So some of them are even like you might know some of these people, but I don't want to take the names, but they had very like profound experiences. One common name and one name that's in public is Ramdas. They be here now, Ramdas. If you hear
Of course. Yes.
experiences on YouTube, you would think either he's crazy or he's something else, right? He's so I have gone through the material like that, and mostly it's based on my conversations with the fellow Western Hindus, how they perceive this divine feminine. Was there a concept? Was it too alien for them? or how did they react when they heard this subject. And yeah, and also the gurus who traveled to US in the 60s, and the kind of influence they had on the West. The kind I know we know prominently few names we are very aware of, but there are many gurus that Indians do not know, like many Hindus do not know, but Westerners really revere and have their own ashrams and all that. So that was material that was very helpful to me in coming up with this. Yeah.
Yeah, Ram Dass, I believe, actually makes his appearance in the film versus I think Charles is reading Be Here Now in one of the scenes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I also noticed that one of the I can't remember the sponsorship level, but the folks at the Quiet
Yes.
were in it, and I think you squeezed one of the books into the stack of books that's being cleared
So
away. Am I
yeah,
am I right? Am I right in seeing that?
you're
Yeah.
right there. But I didn't have any of them as partners before I shot the film.
Oh, interesting. I thought that
I
was like
had
a little
zero
bit of
partners.
product placement.
No, no. I had zero partners. I picked a lot of these books as I wanted to give credit to them, like these
Hmm.
people who were so committed to learning this and practicing this, and they're not even doing this for any public attention or anything. They're
Hmm.
just doing it of pure love. So none of the books in the movie, for that matter, none of the partners were there on the film even when the final product was there. It's
Mm.
after the film was made and showed to a lot of these people, they loved the film. Then we asked them if they could join us as partners so
Yeah.
that we could reach our target audience.
That's interesting. I really thought I was like, oh, they're getting a book in there, which is great because I love those guys, and that's actually how I came into the Hindu tradition through them. One thing that I think is interesting, an interesting connection that you make in the film that has some historical things that I think are not widely known, is that Charles mistakes this vision of Devi for somebody, this Mexican girl. What
Yes.
can you go into that a little bit? Why that is? I mean, why you chose to include that in the film?
Okay. So the perspective I had on this whole thing is, see, when I thought of this idea of a Westerner encountering Devi
Hmm.
and then this Texan background, so I didn't want it like a very fierce form of Devi or anything like that. I wanted a gentle, lovable, very inviting form, like someone like an initiator, right? So that little girl, when I visualized of a little girl, then everything fell in place. Like I had a form of Devi who is 9 year old, and that's nothing but Bala Tripura Sundari Devi. And then this guy had zero knowledge about Hinduism. Forget about, I mean, he doesn't even know what like probably much about India. He's a
Hmm.
proper Texan, and he's into bikes and all that. So the only other country that would cross his mind when he finds someone like that in the desert and border town is probably a Mexican
Hmm.
girl. And also the culture of, and there are some similarities between Indian and Mexican culture, especially when it comes to
Absolutely.
food and the kind of clothes we wear. So that's why he thinks it's probably a little girl and calls her Chiquita.
Mm. The reason I brought that, or I found that fascinating, but aside from all that, is that there is a practical affinity and cross-cultural something between specifically Punjabis and Mexicans. I don't know if you're aware of this in the Southwest US. Going back 125 years, there was intermarriage between them, and there are communal sharings. So I find it very interesting that was included. I like that part. Um, let me see. I was going through the website, and we won't go through them all, but one of the FAQs you have on there is, does Chiquita promote spirituality or idol worship over religion? And to me, well, here, answer that, and then we'll go into my
So,
pushback, not pushback on it, but exploration of that FAQ.
so these some of these terms they are like kind of different. I mean, in India, the word religion actually doesn't make much sense when we see in terms of Sanatana Dharma, like the
True.
Dharma, the righteous way of life, which is eternally true and all that. But when in the Western construct, religion has a specific definition. And most of the world tries to fit into that Western understanding of religion, where it is very rigid and it cannot be debated, it cannot be
Mhm.
negotiated. It's more about accepting someone and something than exploring the self.
Mhm.
That's the general perception of religion. So I felt like movie definitely talks about that in that aspect. Like if you're talking
Mhm.
about the, of course, movie is talking about religion. Devi is religious. That's a particular sect in Hinduism who, like the Sri Vidya tradition, who practice Devi tradition. So yes, it is there. But if you are talking from an Indian perspective, the word religion is actually downgrading the kind of emotion and the feeling you have. It's
Mm.
much bigger than the religion. So we can call it spiritual. There is no harm. There's no harm in that context. So that's the balance I probably wanted to play
Got it.
in that.
Yeah, I when I read that question, and the reason I wanted to ask you about it is because to me it's a false dichotomy. It's a false setting up of between
Yeah.
spirituality and religion. We have
Yeah.
such the trend in the United States, and I think globally, about
Yes.
people being like, I'm going to turn away from religion, but I'm
Yeah.
spiritual. And
Spiritual,
that
but
from the dharmic perspective, that's just like it. There's no distinction there at
yes.
all. It makes more of a distinction in some other traditions, but not in
Yes.
ours. So
Yeah.
I
I'm
was
aware of
wondering
that.
why you put that there because
No,
I saw that I saw it
it's
that way.
specifically for that kind of audience
Hmm.
where they say spiritual but not religious.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So yeah.
What's the reception to the film been so far?
Yeah. The target audience, whoever the film was targeted to, they loved it.
Hmm.
Uh, a lot of see, the reason I got I got endorsements from a lot of people is not because I approached them, but they really loved the film.
Hmm.
Some of them I don't even know personally, and they were endorsing it on Twitter, and I had great response. And of course, all my uh, 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 all my close circles who were watching me grow, they saw how much I evolved from my previous work to this work. So that was always there. But in terms of my target audience, especially the Western Hindus and Indians who are Indic oriented,
Hmm.
they love the film. I can say that without a doubt. But the general audience would find it very specific, targeted to a niche. It's not a mainstream subject for them. So, what I learned from a regular average American who is not even exposed to this dharmic and the spiritual subjects, all they saw the film as, in spite of watching the film, in spite of being part of the film, what they took away in this is a guy in Texas wanted to practice something of his choice, and family is opposing it. Just let him follow it. What's your
Hmm.
problem? Let everyone live like they want to live. That's the message they took. The Devi concept and all that, it was actually too much for them.
Mm.
So I was trying to understand the same thing. Like, this is my first film targeted towards the Westerners
Uh-huh.
and telling a subject that is totally kind of alien to them.
Mm-mm.
So in either ways, the film was well received.
Good, good, good. Let's talk about it. Occurred to me that to talk about Jody a little bit. How was what sort of rehearsal training did he have in it? I guess where I'm going with this is how what's his background in this? Is this strictly an acting job for him, or is there another Western Hindu sitting over there in Texas that nobody at HAF knew about?
Yeah, no, he's not. He's not into
Okay.
this, but he's a very nice person.
Hmm.
Like the film says, he's very receptive to the new ideas.
Hmm.
Won't like he gave his 100%. Like we had script reading discussions. I mean, reading sessions, and we had table reads. And I used to send him pictures of Devi when I got this icon from India, and he was like, "It's very super nice." And when I showed him those websites where we show in the movie,
Yeah.
like where he scrolls and learns about Devi. In that particular scene, he was actually feeling it. I mean, like he didn't have to
Mm.
tell me. He told me, "Trivi, something draws me into. Something is drawing me into this." Like
Mm-mm.
he's an actor. He could have just done his job and left this
Yeah.
scene.
So
But
those websites, sorry to interrupt. Those websites are actually all exist. I actually didn't think about it until this. moment? You didn't create those for the film to show
No, I did.
something? Oh, you did?
No,
Oh, okay,
I
okay,
did.
okay.
For the sake of convenience, so I had
Yeah,
to put all the matter at one place, all the Devi forms in one place, and it's I created them temporarily,
yeah.
and he really got involved in those scenes. And yeah, and when the girl came in with all the costumes, and it
Mhm,
was like 12 a.m. in the like 12 a.m. in the night, and it was dark, and he was so nice to her, and
mm,
he loved her in that costume, and yeah, he thoroughly enjoyed. I'm
mm,
so glad that we got him because he's a great voice,
mhm,
and he's a very nice person to work with.
mm, mm, mm.
He's a radio jockey. He was.
Um, how much of the conservative Christian, um, what's the relation? What would that be? Brother-in-law, not
Yeah,
brother-in-law, son-in-law.
Sunny.
Uh,
Yeah,
um, is based off of experiences that you've had or people you know have had in Texas. I just want to go there because Texas has a fairly large Hindu population, but
yeah,
the stereotype is that son-in-law, frankly.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So to be honest, my experience, yeah, definitely it's based on my personal and my acquaintances experiences, but not in Texas.
Mm.
It was based off all my experiences in India.
Oh.
So factually, there is a mistake in the film. I mean,
Hmm.
some of the people, but during the script discussions, they told me that, hey, you are showing one kind of family who may not be very evangelistic, but you are saying they are very evangelistic. There is a conflict because they do a certain kind of prayer, which is part of a different sect of Christianity, but the actual evangelist, the aggressive evangelism happens in some other
Hmm.
sect Christianity. I told them that you could be 100% right, but I'm not here to dissect into that particular subject. My goal is to show something which was truly based on my understanding and experience. So in India, it doesn't matter.
Hmm.
A lot of people doesn't matter on which side they are. They try to evangelize, and it was very inconvenient sometimes to like like just say no. So
Hmm.
people listen, people are so nice. So it was all based on those experiences in India for sure. Yeah.
Hmm. Um, let's pivot. Or, well, actually, here before we pivot, is there anything else about the film specifically that you wanted to that I've missed before we go on to some other things here?
Um, so there are a lot of hidden elements in the movie, which I don't know if you want to discuss, but
Let's go into them because I've apparently missed them. What are these hidden elements that
so
I that went over my head?
so the for example, who is Henry, the character who actually comes and like wakes him up?
Hmm.
What is he perceived as? And a question that a lot of people had was, how can a Westerner who had no background, who didn't have any inclination to this whole subject,
Hmm.
suddenly find a Devi on one fine night?
Hmm.
There were questions like this. And
It's
like,
funny that never even occurred to me. It just felt fit in the film somehow.
yeah. So, what's the relationship between this young neighbor and Charles?
Hmm.
Oh, what if you see their lives are pretty like in parallel, right?
Yes.
Mm, the way she dresses and she colors her hair and all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
She's not a normal like a typical girl, but she wants to explore something beyond. She has some kind of rebel spirit in her. That's what Charles was in a different form.
Mm.
So when Charles leaves, if you see that icon in Freya's hand.
Yes.
She started exploring with her, and we didn't want him to evangelize any of his family members and
Hmm.
take the same evangelical route, right? So a lot of people complain that, hey, you are talking about evangelism, but your film is also taking the evangelical route. I said, no, I'm not. That's the whole point. I don't want to force anyone to do anything. And
Yeah.
the evolution of Charles is very gradual. If you see, he encountered Devi a decade back, and after a
Hmm.
decade, when he's talking to the young neighbor, he says that, hey, I don't know if there is a superpower, a higher power like that. I don't care. I mean, that's sometimes quite insulting because, in spite of having such profound experiences, benefiting from it, reading from all those yoga and all the scriptures, he then says, I don't know if there is such power. I don't care. And the other girl also says, no, I don't care either, but it's cool.
Yeah.
But only after he encounters the daughter in law,
Hmm.
sorry, the granddaughter, on that particular night, when she asks a couple of questions, it all makes sense to him.
Mm, mm, mm,
So he's very gradually evolving from one step to another step. He had some unattended, like, or some what do you say, baggage with his
mhm,
daughter. Now that's all settled, and now he's ready.
mm,
He's
mm,
now ready for surrender. So we tried, and there is an Ardhanarishwara photo on the side. I couldn't establish it well, but it was an indication of his balance in the conversation between him and his daughter.
mm.
So yeah, things like that.
It it's funny that we're talking about that are interesting because I didn't see his neighbor Freya or his journey as anything unusual
Yeah.
because unusual for rural Texas or rural anywhere in the United States because I grew up in rural Connecticut. I lived in northern Vermont, which is been all around Vermont, which is a very, very rural place. I spent time in the Midwest, for work and stuff. And these people are everywhere.
Uh-huh.
The type of characters that you show may look like to people who haven't experienced it is unexpected in some
Okay.
way. But to
Good.
me, they weren't because that neighbor, Freya, exists in every town, someplace.
Good.
Somebody's out there that's out of step with everyone around them in some way and is seeking. And that an older biker, I don't know how old he's supposed to be in the film. What it was
Yeah.
60s in some points, yeah. Yeah, the Desert Storm veteran hat would put him there, I suppose. Um, those people exist everywhere in my experience, it's not, it was just, felt natural to
Very
me.
nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, okay. Anything else? I'm sorry on Chiquita. Any hidden things that we should go
No,
into?
that's fine. We can go ahead with the
Okay.
conversation.
Okay. Okay. Um, what is, forgive me, excuse me, the Veena Vedika? What's tell people about that, um, and your relationship to that and everything.
Yeah. So Veena Vedika um, is a film enthusiast group. I mean,
Mhm,
we started in 2010.
mhm,
We have done short films, stage drama, skits, ads, and a couple of documentaries, and in a lot of collaborations.
mhm,
But right now, our full focus is in telling these cross cultural stories. This is the kind of stories we want to tell, but how we tell has to be really thought through, especially in our next projects, because we understand that movies for wider audience. It's not for a specific sect of audience. That's not what we are targeting. It could be that way too. So we want to, so authentic stories, affordable filmmaking, because we want, that's our tagline, because we want to do work with a lot of fresh talent and keep it very economical, because there is a lot of content out there. It has to be sustainable if we have to do it again and again. And at the core of this, the whole team believes that art is for human enlightenment, which means, yes, we understand that there is money involved, movie is not charity and all that. We want to be at some point in mainstream film industry, uh, but we think art has a higher purpose, and we would like to continue to explore that.
mm, great. Um, I find it hard to make or to conceive of films that have a spiritual basis to them without it being over the top. And I think
Right.
you thread a needle here. I mean, it's obvious what's going on, but it's not hitting you over the head.
Yeah.
What's your advice for other filmmakers that want to get into this, but either from a craft perspective or however you want to approach that, who want to make films with a spiritual, whether that's Hindu, Dharmic, or anything, any
Yeah.
spiritual focus, and make them appeal to people who just want to see a film.
Yes, that's the most challenging part. And fortunately, this is one of the most received compliments for Chiquita. A lot of them told me that, hey, you never went over the board, and you didn't make a big scene out of it, but you did deliver the point. For example, we spoke so much about that one character who had confrontation with Charles. The entire Charles never responds. In fact,
Mhm,
he's extremely nice to his daughter, and he's very accommodative. If at all he does anything, he does in the back. I mean, he doesn't show it in that scene. But at the end of the film, it's the daughter who counters her husband with one single dialogue, and that
mhm,
was good enough for the whole film to be like conveying whatever
Hmm.
we want to convey. So it's important for us to understand that the regular film goers, like, they want to watch something enjoyable. They are not, they don't like outright preachy subjects. And in the real world, when you are discussing like this, you, the other person has the intention to confront or win over you, right? But movie is seen in a very private space. They don't have to react immediately. No one is looking at them, so they're not losing anything by just. So they are very open-minded when they're watching a movie in a private space. So you need to tone down a little bit. Don't have to. One of the biggest lessons I learned in my from my previous films is you don't have to tell everything you know in one single movie. You
Hmm.
can make 100 movies, right? So you got to be subtle. You got to take it easy, and you have to be honest about it. I didn't want to really create any confrontation anywhere, in spite of having some scenes which could appear though. So I did it in the disclaimer. I
Hmm.
then made character tell it himself, like orally, so that no one misses out. And at the end of the movie, I even self-correct it, because that's not the nature of Charles. That's not what we want people to. That's not the road we want to take. Already, the world is a lot divided.
Hmm.
So I think it's time for us to be gentle, give them the understanding, just invite them to see what we are, and then they will eventually appreciate. A lot of people don't want to be part of this drama. They want
Hmm.
peace and spiritual, I think, elevation. Yeah.
Great. What's let's bring this around to a close here. What's next for you? What do you have any films that you're working on now? And what can we see from you in the future?
Yeah. So I wanted to make a feature film in English for which is properly set American story but with deep Indian connection. So that's going to be the theme of all my future movies. And
Hmm.
currently I'm working on one which is again based in the similar subject, but this time it's going to, like I mentioned, that's the story I want to tell. But how do I tell? That will be a lot different this time, irrespective of which genre it could be. It could be revenge drama, it could be action, it could be anything, but the fundamentals of the stories are going to be, I mean, the same.
Hmm.
um, yeah, and the conflicts are going to be very natural, like I don't want to force fit anything into these subjects. They have to be honest, and people should be able to connect those.
Great. Okay, let's give people the good information here on how they can find everything. Remind everyone where they can watch Chiquita and where they can follow you, social media, websites, anything like that you care to share.
So Chiquita is now streaming on Amazon Prime, Plex TV. In India, it's streaming on Hangama OTT. It's also on YouTube Movies, official YouTube Movies, and it will also be on my own channel, Veena Vedika, on YouTube. VeenaaVedika.com. You can see all our previous work there, and we are available on all platforms, on all social media platforms with the same handle. And you can reach out to me as at X or any other platform as TRIVI143. That's my handle. I'm available on all platforms in that.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Trivikram. Let's uh let's leave it there. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah,
See
thank you.
ya.
Thank you, Matt, and thank you, HF, for this opportunity.